Hello, everybody. We're going to get Neal on the line here. Give me just a moment. Hope you're excited for lunch beers. We're just waiting for Neal. Neal, there you are.
Howdy.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm ready for lunch beer, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little hungover. I was watching the Warriors playing last night, and I had to celebrate a little bit. For any of you Warriors fans, I'm sure you were celebrating too.
Who are the Warriors? Go Warriors!
Neal, I was about to take away your beer buying membership.
I Yeah, apparently I'm gonna get lots of nasty grams from people.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was fantastic victory.
It
Um,
was.
I saw someone went swimming to celebrate and all this kind of stuff. It was a lot of good times. I am
Yeah.
just un. This is like the worst unboxing ever, but this is my care package from
Yeah.
Geo that I just got going
Sport.
on, and I am super excited for these beers.
Awesome. Well,
So that's
guys,
from
you're joining us here for lunch beers. We're going to be doing some beers for the weekend for Father's Day, kind of highlighting dad. Neal, your dad. What's that like?
it's weird.
Yeah, I
Like
bet.
it's like I've always wanted to have kids ever since I was actually fairly young, and so much of it feels like our lives were completely changed, but we just flow with it, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic. But then there's all sorts of stuff that you cannot predict, and our little guy Jameson is quite an imp. He's very
Yeah.
mischievous. So he gets in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, I
He
bet.
started walking, running, and jumping all earlier than expected, and he just kind of throws himself into stuff, and I'm there to laugh when he laughs and
Yeah.
to pick him up when he doesn't laugh, I guess. Um,
Yeah. That's great. This is your
yeah,
second
no,
Father's Day, right?
correct.
Okay,
He's
cool.
he's 16 months now, so
Cool.
little Jameson is doing solid. He's about half a mile away from me at daycare right now,
Nice.
having a lot of fun. So yeah,
Well, Dad's got to get drinking. So, guys, you joined us for lunch beers, not day drinking. Sorry about all of you hoping for day drinking with David, but this is
welcome to
lunch
Day Drinking
beers.
with David. Lunch beers,
So,
and who are you, sir, that I'm
I'm
talking to right now?
I'm Gio Bueno. You might know me as Gio, and I'm the beer
Gio
buyer down here.
Muy.
Yeah, muy bueno. I'm the beer buyer here down in Hollywood, and you are, sir.
I am Neal Fischer. I am the K&L beer buyer for Northern California, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful city of Redwoods, Redwood City.
Yeah, a lot of redwoods I
Yeah.
hear. So, Neal, I'm going to kick us off here. I'm going to start with, if you guys read our newsletter, we try to get it out every week, and I was talking about Ogopogo last time. So, we're going to be trying two new Ogopogos that I just got in. The first one here is Think About Your Dad, Mosaic Pills. I thought it was very appropriate.
Oh.
Yeah, pop that beer open. All right, so we're pouring that beer down. Think about your dad. Ooh, that is pretty. That's really, really nice. Very aromatic. A lot of good dank notes to it.
Oh, that's a happy pills right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So for those of you who don't know Ogopogo, they're a fairly new brewery out of San Gabriel. They've been making beer for about 3 years now. And during the pandemic, they really started canning. I mean, a lot of breweries started canning back then. Jason, oh, I should really remember his name, but Jason is the head brewer there, and he used to work at Mason. He used to work at Golden Road. These guys really know what they're doing, and they've been making really solid beers for quite a while. Neal, what do you think of the beer?
I think that is fantastic. That is. I mean, I actually love how on point the artwork is, because
Hmm.
I definitely would want to be drinking this during and after I mow my lawn on the
Yeah,
weekends.
definitely. I mean, this is a crushable beer. It's very light. It's
Yeah,
very,
it's got
it
some really
gives.
bright hop notes up first, and then it's just so refreshing and has like that perfect summery hop level for me.
100%. Yeah, it's a beautiful beer. And a lot of the times they well, not a lot of the times, they mostly name their beers after mythical animals. So, and they always have a little story on the side of the can if you can turn the beer a little bit there, Neal. And this guy here just has a short little story, kind of, but not explaining a little inside joke about the name of the beer. But don't be scared. They're still going to be going with all their monster themes, and this is a monstrous beer. So let's move on to the next. Neal, what do you got for me?
I am going to be busting out Brother Sal
Hell
from
yeah.
Laughing Monk here. So Laughing Monk, I would say one of the most famous San Francisco breweries going strong right now. Um, Absolutely love them. They got founded in, I believe, 2016. And it was a bunch of friends who, they grew up on West Coast IPAs. They loved that whole scene. And then one of them tried their first Belgian beer, and they were like, "What's going on? What are these saisons? What are these quads?" They just had their minds blown and introduced them to the same group of friends, and so then they basically decided we're going to start doing West Coast IPAs. They now also do hazies and East Coast and sessions and that kind of thing. But they wanted to really blend this idea of IPAs and Belgian inspired beers. This
Yeah.
is their Brother Sal. It is a West Coast IPA. Um,
I mean, that's
it's got
that's goddamn typical, super typical in the best way possible.
yeah, no, no, not pejoratively typical. um, No, they're really fantastic. This Brother Sal, all of their beers, or most of their beers, are brother something or sister something, to kind of like give homage to uh, the monks that helped inspire their beers. This is their first 100% salmon safe offering, um, which is not something that we think about a lot when we're drinking beer. We don't often think of fish unless we're having like a tasty grilled fish with our beer.
Yeah,
But certainly, I think a lot more brewers over the last decade or so are getting very conscientious of how much uh, water it takes to create, and
sure.
all booze really. So it's distilling, it's winemaking, it's brewing, cider making, etc. Um, Water is the first key ingredient in all of these fermentation and distillation processes, and so a lot more breweries are getting hip to the fact that they need to help join the activism, helping protect the water sources. And this one is taking that and to a different focus. So they're helping to protect the waterways, undamming issues, making sure that native California wildlife gets to stay uh, plentiful, happy,
Nice.
and we still drink delicious beer.
I mean, that's great. I love, especially a California brewery. We got to think about water. I mean, I don't know if it started for you guys yet, but fire season is alive and well in LA.
Oh, we're starting to get the random brush fires like
Yeah,
that are like very scarily close to a lot of houses, but also nature preserve areas, and yeah, it's getting a little scary. We have enacted a lot of it's by county, but a lot of useful water restrictions going on up here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a very prescient canning, very good offering. It's a delicious West Coast IPA for anybody
Yeah.
who loves a classic West Coast IPA. This is definitely that. And it's being made thoughtfully, and proceeds are going to sustainability issues regarding water and wildlife. So
Love that.
definitely, yeah, good job, Laughing Monk. What do you have next for us?
Yeah, so we're going to go back to Ogopogo. And just to kind of mention it to you guys, Ogopogo, I order all the stuff from Southern California. We try to keep kind of exclusive to make it kind of fun for our customers. But sometimes you're like, wait, I don't see that bottle or that can in my store. Well, you can always go online at KLWines.com. You can buy whatever you want there and you have it shipped to your store. So with some exclusions applying. But Ogopogo is back here. They've got a collaboration beer here. This is an El Segundo West Coast IBA collaboration. So, I mean, you've got all sorts of screaming hops in here. Incognito, Mosaic Incognito, Incognito Chinook, Cryo Mosaic, and just regular Chinook. And this beer, I had a couple yesterday. It might be why I'm a little hungover, because it really snuck up on me. This guy is so clean and pretty. It was really a revelation. I mean, I wanted to keep drinking and drinking and drinking this beer. There you see the two names, Ogopogo, El Segundo. So you're going to find this beer in our Hollywood store. It's got really pretty malt character, but it's not a big malt bomb. Like, it's just got a really nice sort of pretty kind of caramely note with lots of big fresh hop character, and even a little bit of like bright citrus on there too.
Oh yeah, the citrus really comes through on the mid palate. That's
Big
tasty.
time. I even get a little bit of melon off there, like a little bit of watermelon kind of thing.
Yeah, there's just a touch of tropical element to it.
Yeah, and we love our IPAs and our pilsners here, and we really want to make that happen. And for the summer, it can be a little hard to drink these high alcohol IBV IPAs, but when they made this fresh and this delicious, I really didn't have a single problem knocking it back yesterday. And in fact, I might drink a little bit of this today. As one of our viewers mentioned, the best cure for a hangover is a little bit of booze, and a lunch beer is definitely going to set me straight here.
Yeah, especially hanging out at 8.5%.
Yeah, so Ogopogo, Hop City Express 2, Double Trouble, collab with El Segundo, and you got to come get this one. There's not a lot left, so if you're interested in that beer, you got to hop on it soon. All right, Neal, what do you got next?
I think we're gonna jump to the Margarita Ghosts.
Cool.
Switch my phone back around here. We're gonna go to, this is one of the, Gio just mentioned how we've been trying to focus on local breweries a lot since he and I have taken over the beer buying here, and especially since this is the first time that K&L has had both Northern and Southern California beer buyers. So focusing on Bay Area beers and LA and San Diego and Slow Coast area beers are a really big deal for us. Cigar City seems kind of random. They're out of Tampa, Florida. I actually spent about 4 years living in Tampa, Florida, before I came to the Bay Area. And Cigar City just defined good brewing in Tampa, in the whole central Florida area. We have like the next biggest Yuengling facility outside of Pennsylvania, I believe, and that's actually probably what Tampa is most famous for as far as brewing. But Cigar City is they're more than up and coming. They're fantastic. They've been so solid. If you haven't tried their Highlight IPA, definitely do it. They have such a cool taproom situation. They've got really awesome, just all sorts of beers. Margarita Ghosts, it's as advertised. They're taking this old school German beer style of making a sour, but with a little bit of salt, and then they're just applying a little lime and some other natural flavors. They're doing it right.
Yeah.
They're not cheating anything, and it just comes off super refreshing. Like this is what Dad should drink before he starts on the tequila drinks on Father's Day.
Yeah, I mean, they do say beer before liquor, never sicker, but on Father's Day, there's something magical that happens. I'm sure the father can handle that.
Dad gets superpowers. No, I
Yeah,
love this. Like it's the right amount of tart, fruity, salty. It's that combination of the tart and the salt, and the saline. Just you take a drink, it's awesome. You smack your lips, and then you say, "I want to take another drink." That's fantastic.
yeah. No, that is a really tasty beer.
Yeah.
And you can
Mm.
find that at which stores?
So that should be both in San Francisco and Redwood City.
Cool.
Of course, online as well. I am about to order some more Cigar City stuff. So we also have the Highlight IPA in our fridges, and hopefully a couple more things soon. But yeah, get that Margarita Ghosts. What are we doing next there, Gio?
All right, so we're gonna, I do like that you mentioned that we're kind of going elsewhere because, as much as California makes some of the best, if not the finest beer in the world, you gotta hand some credit to the Germans, the Belgians, the Europeans of the world. So we're gonna go to Driefonteinen. We're gonna do the Tuber Bowl. Um, we've actually got a couple of Driefonteinen beers coming up. So if you're a big fan of the style, we kind of, like I said, we were picking beers here for Father's Day. So, Father could drink a lot of really fun, easy beers, and sometimes he wants something a little bit more fleshy and toned up, and kind of has a little bit more going for it. So if you've had a lot of Driefonteinen beers, the acid can sometimes be out of control. I mean, there are some beers that you really would want to put away for years, just like you would treat a wine, to kind of calm down some of that acid. But this beer is unique, so it's going to have 90% Belgian triple, which is going to have a lot of body, a lot of kind of intrigue. I agree with you, Gregory, or Brasserie Gregor. It is fantastic. It's really been one of my favorite beers that I've had from this brewery. And it kind of gives me everything I want from that slight sour tang and refreshing finish, but with a beautiful sort of malty banana estery quality that, it makes me want to
And
go back more and more for it.
the depth here is fantastic. Like
Huge.
there's also spice and like a florality to it.
It's
That's
everything.
fantastic.
It's everything. I mean, it is something you can cellar, and I would love to see the complexity come out in the next couple of years. But this is a crusher. I mean, as much as a 9.7% alcohol beer can be a crusher, this one just has that gentle acidity that kind of makes it go down. You can really have this with a meal. This is definitely a meal beer.
Absolutely. This is a great food beer.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And this is one of those beers, Neal, that we kind of lined up on. We don't often find a lot of the same beers in our stores together, but I think we both kind of fell in love with this style and this brewery. And so I believe
Absolutely.
this is in all of our stores right now, but you can find it online as well. It has a little bit of like herbaceous, like a little bit of mint, a little bit of savory kind of cooking herbs in there. Mm.
Yeah, I just actually did last night. I did this risotto dish that ended up using fennel salami and
Mm.
charred onions, and I'm very happy that I have leftovers because I'm bringing one of these beers home.
Yeah.
This will go perfect with that herbaceousness. The acid will cut through the richness of the risotto. Oh,
Yeah, it's a fantastic beer. One that we have plenty of stock on, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. It's definitely a perfect beer for Dad. Dad kind of deserves the best. He does a lot for us, so treat him right. Treat him right. Neal, what do you got next?
so I am going to another one of our co-favorites here. I'm going to go to Stellardor. I'm going to pour the Happy Dagger here, which is a rustic wild ale with nectarine, vanilla, and jasmine, which ends up just being a fantastic combination. It sounds maybe a little random at first, but I absolutely love this. Stellardor is someone that we both order from on quite a regular basis. You've been really on a big kick with them lately, and then you have some maybe, Gio, you have some maybe sad news, or maybe not
Well,
necessarily sad. What's going on with Stellardor right now?
so they're going through some things. There's definitely they're looking for a new place to start their brewery and to kind of keep it going. At the end of this year, they'll be closing the current facility that they're in. So you know
Okay.
their beers take months and months and months to make. So it's not like they can crank one out in 3 weeks and you know here's your beer.
Right.
They're
So
making everything
if
in
I
a
can,
barrel. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, okay. So exactly that was going to be the point that I touched on. They're
Yeah.
one of the very few breweries in the United States, if not in the world, 100% oak barrel fermented.
Ever.
That's absolutely part and parcel to their program. That's a quintessential to the quality and the style of beer that they're doing, and that is mind blowing. Like that's
Yeah.
really hard to do. Um,
And they also condition every single can and bottle with honey. So they're not CO2 injecting anything. That also takes weeks, you know? Like they'll have some
yeah,
stuff that'll be the new release beer, but it's been in a can for 2 months, you know? So there's definitely an exceptional quality to their beer making. And I'll let you talk about this beer here so we can kind of get the customer on board here.
I mean, this is it's Brett style in a lot of ways, but you don't get a lot of that breadiness. You don't get kind of any of those farmhouse or the barnyard, I should say. You don't get any of those aromas, and I assume that's because of the care that they're taking here. But they're using Matsumoto nectarines, actual jasmine flowers, whole vanilla beans. Um, it's like the last one that we just had with Gio's beers. This is something that is fresh and fun and bright and drinkable now, but it is also very much intended for cellaring. It will age for years, which is not something that we often think about when we look at a canned beer. But Stellardor, I think this really just kind of like brings home some points about how special they are, and what they're doing is they make cellarable beers no matter what format they're putting in, no matter what style they happen to be throwing down. This could age for quite a bit, and it's going to develop complexities. I imagine some more of the earthy tones of the vanilla and of the jasmine are going to come out as the
Yeah.
fruit calms down. But I'm gonna put one or two of these away to see how they go, because
Yeah.
it's so pretty.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that it says Matsumoto Farms on the nectarines. So if you're lucky enough to live in Los Angeles, no shade to the Bay Area, but we have a wonderful amount of farmers markets down here that get really high quality fruit from the Central Valley and sort of central Southern California. And Matsumoto Farms does some of the best stone fruit I think in the world, and this is using a lot of that second quality stone fruit that wouldn't necessarily sell at the market. Maybe it's got a little pock mark or the skin is damaged. Yeah, yes, damaged fruit that you and I might not pick up in the market, but it's still very good. And so in a way, they're really preserving that quality of the high quality fruit, and they're really without crushing on them too much. Actually, you know what? The next beer.
We can't. Why
Yeah, no,
why
you
wouldn't
know
we?
what?
They're
We're gonna keep
fantastic.
the crush train going. The next beer, Mr. Neal, is
Yes.
also from Stellardor. Now this beer is part of the line of beers that they do in a bottle with grape skins and grape must. I like to think of these beers as almost like a piquette style. So we're talking about the Dead Crush, which this year released on Cabernet Sauvignon skins, and is dark and inky and just so they're
I
making
mean,
a saison. Go ahead, buddy.
it looks like a wine when you pour it. Like it looks
Absolutely.
like somehow it's a frizzante red or something. It's beautiful
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. This is an exceptional beer that, like I said, it really rides that line between what is a beer and what is something else. They're using Cabernet Sauvignon grapes from Villa Colibri Vineyards. I think up in Central Coast or Central California, but I should probably do some homework on that. But they're using their spelt saison, their bottle conditioning in bottle here, and this one, I mean, it's 11%, so it really does take us more into that wine atmosphere. But it's so fruity and vivacious. A ton of red fruit in there. I mean, it makes it. You even got the classic Cabernet Sauvignon mint quality in there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got some really nice brambleberry notes. It does have a little bit of a Venice quality to it.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of texture to this one too. It doesn't just. It's not like it's not refreshing. There's plenty of refreshing acidity in there, but just like you would have a sort of refreshing, light-bodied Pinot Noir or even light-bodied Central Coast Cabernet Sauvignon, you have a sort of refreshing quality to it, even though it has weight and texture to it. And you've got a little bit of that oak in there too, a little bit of
Yeah.
vanilla, maybe even a little coconut. This is a beer that, Dad is a sophisticated guy. Like sometimes he wants to cellar his beers. I definitely think this is one of them. Put it away for a couple of years. Drink it now. I mean, this is a meal beer. This is one of those beers that really kind of takes the level of what beer making can do, and brings it into the foray of we care a lot about wine. I'm sitting in front of the champagne section. I love champagne. I'd drink it any day if I could. But some of these beers are really kind of reaching for the stars, and I think they're really, really nailing it.
Yeah, this one absolutely screams fine dining. This is damn, I love that. I have never tried that before. That made me very happy.
Yeah, so I have this at the LA store. Neal, I'm probably going to get some more Stellardor up into your stores.
Yeah, we are.
And maybe get this one available to people up north. But obviously, you can buy it online. We really like to emphasize that you have basically a double selection online. Me and Neal can kind of do our own thing without having to consult each other and coordinate. But every once in a while, we're going to line up, and it's going to be magic when it does, because that's kind of what we do here.
I mean, if both Gio and Neal are buying the beers, then they're if we're getting the same stuff, then it's pretty magical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna
magic.
rename that. That's not Dead Crush to me anymore.
No.
It's Dad Crush. Dad's
Dad
crushing
Crush. No, he's so
on me.
crushing.
I want that real bad right now.
I have no children, but I have a couple cats who would probably give that a sniff and then be
Yeah, same thing.
totally uninterested. Cool. What do we got next?
All right. My final beer for today is from Dry Fontinen. This is their B61 Oud Goods, which is sherry finished, sherry aged, and peated. Ooh, oh my goodness. God, I love this beer. All right.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, this lovely brewery got a shipment of barrels from Jerez. They got a bunch of stuff that was like everything from Amontillado, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez, just a whole range. I don't know which bodega necessarily the barrels are coming from, but they got a range of sherry barrels. This one, B61, is all in Oloroso barrels. And I think you really get just super interesting nutty characteristics from that. But then there's just this low simmering smoke. It's not, if you're scared of the word peat because you're not a Scotch fan or something, you don't like Isla stuff, it's not that. We're
Yeah.
not in that realm. It's just this low, smoldering, almost embery kind of smoke coming to it.
Yeah, that's a very delightful beer. And from what I understand, this was they do have a line of beers called Zete and La Frontera or something like that. God, I really should
Correct.
have
Yeah.
done. Yeah. So they do a line of sherried barrels that they release every year or every couple of years, depending.
Right.
And these were basically taken from that line and released as their own beer due to their own unique character. And you definitely taste it. I mean, I've tasted this one a couple of times, and it always stuns me every time. It even has like a light, almost iodine-y character, like a rich, sort of dark.
It does have that is, a little bit of that Isla quality. If we're using kind of like Scotch terms, there is a little bit of that sea salty iodine thing.
Yeah.
But again, it's so mellow and smooth and integrated, and that's part of like the goose process, right? So goose is a blend of a very young, usually around a 1-year-old sour wild ale, and then they go for older stuff, and usually it ends up like the older is like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Pretty old in beer terms, but not super old as far as other things. But this one, the average age is like 3 years. So they're using 1, 2, 3 plus year old stock that's been fermenting, barrel conditioned, etc. And the way that they're blending that much and that many ages and getting that old, I think really, really integrates all of the flavors together quite nicely. And so you don't get any harsh top notes. It's not too sour. It's not too smoky. Everything just kind of comes together.
And it's delicious. And, it's not, it might not be a beer that Dad opens up on a hot day. It has a 10.6 alcohol, and it definitely has a lot of racy acidity to it, but Dad can put this away. It's something he'll remember that you gifted him, because even on the back of the bottle it says best before 2040. So he's got a couple of years. Maybe he can open it up with the grandkids when they're old enough. Grandkids will be very confused. They'll be
what does this mean? What are you talking about? No, this is very much a generational beer. It is, yes. Father can pass it down to son pass it down to grandchild. Love this beer. Their Goose series from Dry Fontaine, they just crush it. They do such artful blends. So pick something like this up. Especially if your dad's weird.
Yeah.
This guy, then this is a great dad beer.
Cool. All right, Neal, what do you got coming up this week? You got any orders coming in? Anything people should get excited about?
Absolutely not. No, so NorCal has been a little crazy, and my schedule's been a little crazy with partially. I'm not going to blame anything. I don't want to cast aspersions, but the little ones had some interesting scheduling issues. But so we are going to be getting in some more Stellardor stuff, a lot more, hopefully Alvarado Street. I did a big kind of order, and hopefully not all of it was too limited. So that should be coming in. We're going to be getting in some cool sours from Del Cielo Brewing, and also their Pride Brew IPA. I think it's a hazy this year. So that'll be fun. And a lot more Laughing Monk like we featured today with Brother Sal. What about you, Gio? What do you have on tap here?
Yeah, so I'm going to doing a lot of reordering on fresh German beers. So getting the Stiegel back in, getting the Radlers back in, a Harlan Japanese lager, which we tried on the last lunch beers. Sells like
Right.
wildfire, and I got to get that one back in every time. I brought in this new smoothie seltzer called Smooth, although on the label it says SMOOJ, so I like to call it Smooge.
Smooth.
It just makes
So,
it's a lot of fun.
a seltzer, a smoothie seltzer. So
Yeah,
are they
so
using those?
they're using actual fruit. It's thick like a
Okay.
smoothie beer would be, or a smoothie style sour, but there's no beer element to it. It's just carbonated water. So when you drink it, and I recommend drinking it from a can, I think it just drinks a little bit prettier. It really does taste like the pina colada that's on the label, and they're fantastic. I mean, they're really. You take that to the Hollywood Bowl if you're down here. You take that to the bay, the water. You take it on a kayak. I mean, you're going to be really
Take
happy
that
with that.
to eat.
Yeah, you can take it to the
That
beach. I
sounds
mean, they're
great.
they're tall, little, slim 12-ounce cans, so they kind of fit in any purse. And then I'm really hoping that my order goes through because, like you said, things can be a little limited, but I should be getting some equilibrium in. A lot of really beautiful hazies and double IPAs in the New England style from New York, and a lot of really other cool stuff. You can rely on us for cool stuff, and a lot of it drops on Wednesdays and Thursdays, sometimes Fridays. So it was a really active day and a really good day to look on our website to kind of see what has come in.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Check out the end of the week. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Hope
so
you had
much.
fun. Hope you want to pick up some of these for
Yeah.
either yourself or your dad or
And
whoever.
guys,
Yeah,
don't forget,
good stuff.
think about dad.
Think about
your
that.
dad. All right. All right, Neal.
Bye.
You have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, you too, man. Peace.